Deep inside the nucleus of every single cell in your body, there is a microscopic biological switch that dictates how fast you age, how much anxiety you endure, and ultimately, how long you will live. Modern longevity scientists and Silicon Valley billionaires are currently pouring billions into experimental laboratories, desperately trying to manually control this genetic switch. They test synthetic peptides and take extreme pharmaceutical cocktails. But what if the ultimate mechanism to hack your biological age does not require a laboratory at all? I was recently studying the latest breakthroughs in molecular biology, and frankly, looking at the data completely shattered my understanding of human health. It turns out that the most advanced, mathematically perfect tool for altering your genetic expression was engineered thousands of years ago by ancient Indian sages, relying entirely on the acoustic physics of the human voice. Today, we are completely leaving behind the realm of philosophy. We are diving straight into the hard, undisputed science of epigenetics and neuroscience to decode the biological reality of Vedic mantras. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of this ancient medical technology, we first have to fundamentally update our understanding of human DNA. For decades, the mainstream medical establishment taught us a very depressing biological concept. We were told our genetics were an absolute, unchangeable blueprint. If your family had a history of severe stress or cognitive decline, you were essentially doomed to follow that exact path. However, a revolutionary field of science called epigenetics has completely destroyed that outdated theory. Epigenetics literally translates to above genetics. Modern biologists have definitively proven that your DNA is highly dynamic. It is a massive control board with millions of microscopic volume dials. While you cannot physically change the underlying code, you can absolutely change which genes are turned on and off. This is gene expression. And the most mind-bending part of this scientific reality is discovering exactly what controls those dials. It is your environment, your emotional state, and most importantly, the specific biochemical signals generated by your central nervous system. I have noticed that whenever people talk about ancient Sanskrit mantras, they immediately default to describing them as simple tools for psychological comfort. We are conditioned to think of a mantra as just a pleasant sound. But when you strip away the modern interpretations and look strictly at the original Vedic architecture, a completely different reality emerges. The ancient sages of Sanatana Dharma were master anatomists and acoustic physicists. They understood that the human body is essentially a highly sensitive, biological resonant cavity. Sound is not just a subjective experience happening inside your ears. Sound is a physical, measurable kinetic force. It is a mechanical pressure wave that physically interacts with the dense matter of your biological structure. When you chant a sacred Sanskrit verse, you are deploying a highly specific, mathematically calculated sequence of acoustic vibrations directly into your own neurological network. This precise mechanical reality is exactly why the Vedas place such a terrifyingly strict emphasis on the science of phonetics, known as shiksha. In the ancient Gurukula system, a student was not allowed to simply memorize the meaning of a text. They spent years agonizing over the exact placement of their tongue, the precise shape of their vocal cords, and the strict duration of their breath for every single syllable. To a modern observer, this level of linguistic obsession seems unnecessary. But the sages knew something modern medical science is only just beginning to verify. The Sanskrit language was engineered as a biological programming language. Every vowel and consonant was mathematically mapped to stimulate specific meridian points along the upper palate of the mouth, located directly beneath the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. These two massive control centers are entirely responsible for regulating your endocrine system, your hormones, and your body's stress response. When you truly think about the physiological mechanics of chanting a complex Sanskrit mantra, you begin to see the hidden medical technology. Proper Vedic chanting requires a highly specific rhythm of inhalation and exhalation, known in the ancient texts as Chandas or meter. This mathematically precise breathing pattern directly engages the most critical component of your autonomic nervous system, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a massive biological superhighway running from the base of your brainstem down into your heart and digestive tract. When you are stressed, your body is trapped in a sympathetic state, constantly flooding your bloodstream with cortisol. High chronic cortisol is the absolute enemy of longevity. It violently degrades cellular health, accelerates physical aging, and actively turns on the epigenetic switches associated with severe illness. However, the precise acoustic resonance and rhythmic breathing of a Sanskrit mantra act as a direct physical massage to the vagus nerve. It forces the body to immediately switch into a parasympathetic state. The moment this switch occurs, the biological results are staggering and immediately measurable. Your heart rate variability dramatically improves. Your blood pressure drops. But most importantly, the extreme reduction in cortisol sends a completely new biochemical signal deep into the nucleus of your cells. You are literally instructing your DNA to turn off the inflammatory genes and activate the genes responsible for cellular repair, immunity, and longevity. You are using the physical force of sound to rewrite your epigenetic destiny. You do not need to manifest health through blind faith. You are initiating a hard biological protocol. The ancient sages codified this exact biological mechanism thousands of years before the invention of the electron microscope. They understood that the physical vibration of the universe, the primordial energy of Om, is the foundational building block of matter, and by perfectly aligning the vocal cords with that frequency, you physically heal the biological vessel. If you think this sounds like an exaggeration, we only need to look at the groundbreaking, peer-reviewed neuroscience that has emerged recently. In a highly documented medical study conducted by Dr. James Hartzell, a cognitive neuroscientist, researchers placed traditionally trained Vedic pandits into advanced functional MRI machines. These were men who had spent their entire lives strictly memorizing and chanting vast portions of the Krishna Yajurveda with flawless phonetic precision. The medical imaging results completely shocked the scientific community. The brain scans revealed that the pandits had significantly thicker cortical layers and a massive increase in gray matter volume compared to normal individuals. Specifically, the areas of the brain associated with memory, executive function, and complex cognitive processing were physically larger and far more biologically robust. The scientific community officially named this astonishing neurological phenomenon the Sanskrit Effect. Think about the profound implications of this hard medical data. Modern society is currently facing an unprecedented epidemic of cognitive decline, Alzheimer's disease, and neurological degradation. The pharmaceutical industry is spending billions trying to formulate drugs that can simply slow down the decaying of the human brain. Yet, the MRI scans conclusively prove that the rigorous phonetic chanting of Sanskrit literally builds physical brain tissue. It induces a massive state of neuroplasticity, forcing the brain to generate new neural pathways and physically upgrade its own biological hardware. The ancient gurus did not need advanced brain imaging technology to know this. They recognized that sustained, perfectly articulated acoustic vibration acts as heavy resistance training for the central nervous system. Just as lifting weights creates micro-tears in muscle tissue that heal back stronger, the complex algorithmic structure of Sanskrit phonetics forces the brain to intensely focus, creating a dense, highly optimized neurological network that actively resists cognitive decay and the ravages of physical aging. When I sit back and truly analyze this convergence of ancient scripture and modern biology, the sheer arrogance of modern wellness trends becomes painfully obvious. We have elite executives and tech billionaires paying tens of thousands of dollars to attend exclusive biohacking retreats, strapping electrodes to their heads, and injecting synthetic compounds into their veins in a desperate bid to live longer and think clearer. They are endlessly searching for the ultimate biological upgrade in a modern laboratory, completely ignoring the fact that the most sophisticated, peer-reviewed, and mathematically flawless tool for genetic optimization was finalized in the forests of ancient India. The sages gave us a direct user manual for the human nervous system. They handed us the exact acoustic codes required to hack our epigenetic expression, downregulate deadly stress hormones, and physically rebuild our brain tissue. They proved that the human body is not a fragile, decaying machine, but a highly responsive acoustic instrument that can be continuously tuned and optimized through the supreme science of sound. The truth is, the fundamental biological laws of the human body have not changed a single degree in the last 5,000 years. The profound acoustic science, hidden within Sanatana Dharma, is not a collection of superstitious rituals. It is a highly advanced, unedited medical framework. It is time we stop viewing our sacred mantras as mere cultural traditions and start recognizing them as the supreme biological technology that they truly are. You hold the absolute power to alter your own genetic expression and command your neurological health simply through the disciplined, accurate vibration of your own voice. The ancient wisdom is mathematically and biologically exact. It is your birthright to utilize it. If this unapologetic breakdown of the undisputed science behind epigenetics and Vedic mantras has completely shifted your perspective on ancient health practices, you must help me push this profound knowledge to the world. The algorithm constantly suppresses authentic historical science, but together we can force it to share this truth. Hit the like button right now to trigger the system. I want you to go into the comments and tell me your thoughts on the Sanskrit Effect. Are you going to start taking the phonetic science of our ancestors seriously? Let me know, because I read every single comment to see who is paying attention. Make sure you are subscribed and have the notification bell turned on so you never miss these deep dives into the absolute truth of our history. Stay highly disciplined, keep your mind sharp, and I will see you in the next one.